Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're reviewing Castleshire, a card reduction push-your-luck strategy bluffing game from publisher Cheap Sheep Games in New Zealand, designed by Till Peters. Castleshire is a game for 2 to 6 players, in which players are subjects of a king who is simply obsessed with building the perfect castle. An obsession that is so intense that every guild in the land, be it construction related or not, is engaged in the building of castles to satisfy the king. One particularly amusing game we played had a barber's guild, a constable's guild, and a gypsy's guild, all competing to be the most famous castle builders in the land. Players win by being the most famous, and players gain fame by constructing the most castle segments possible with their workers per round. Each player is given 12 castle segments which they must complete. However, each castle segment can technically only be built upon its respective space on the board. I say technically because in the best tradition of cowboy builders, if a player can build an incorrect section on a part of the board and not get caught, well, they will still get the credit and accolade for building a part of the castle and the resulting fame point necessary for victory. Each castle segment is numbered from 1 to 12, and the lower segments are the most difficult to build. The reason being is because of the submitting a tender rule that starts every game round. At the start of every round, players submit a tender to the king by secretly selecting one of their castle segment cards and revealing it when the number is called. Players then count backwards from 12 to 1, and when the highest tended number is called, that castle section is immediately built, and players must build up from that number for the remainder of the round. So, for example, if castle segment 5 is the one called, players can only technically build from castle section 6 upwards. Again, I say technically, because all cards, when played, are played face down. So there's nothing stopping an unscrupulous player from secretly building a dungeon where there's supposed to be a throne room, as long as they don't get caught. Players get caught when another player challenges them on the room that they just built. The card is then overturned, and if the builder did indeed build the correct section of the castle, not only do they score 2 fame points instead of 1 because of the incorrect besmirching of their reputation, they also give 1 of their remaining castle segment cards to the offending player as punishment. However, if the builder was caught in the act, as it were, and built an incorrect section, the challenger instead gets the fame point, and the builder loses all credit for the castle section built. At the end of the round, all castle segment cards are discarded from play, so the game evolves from a bluffing to a memory game, as players try to remember whether an opponent has already built the same section twice, and must hazard a guess as to whether they were lying the first time they built it, or are lying this time. The first player to empty their hand of all castle segments gains a bonus fame point, and the results are tallied, with the winner being the player with the most fame. What I have given there is a basic synopsis of the game, which is added to beautifully with additional rules known as expansions, such as allies, who break the game in interesting ways, such as forcing other players to challenge rooms regardless of whether they want to or not, sneaking a peek at rooms before challenging, and even simply giving an unwanted castle segment card punitively to another player for no other reason than you can. Another additional rule/expansion that I really like is the addition of the guild books, which bend the base rules again in very interesting ways by varying hand sizes, varying available workers, and endowing players with special and unique powers. Some, such as attributing fame to other players for the sake of it, or simply passing your turn in order to collect extra ally cards. It's a dynamic variance to the game that I wasn't expecting, but thoroughly enjoyed, as the guilds give a great range of replayability to the game due to its versatility and at times near game-breaking fun, especially as the guilds themselves range from fun to silly. As a result, I got great cosmic encounter vibes off this game because it has a very simple core concept that is pushed to great limits by the various expansions contained within the rulebook that provide additional rules and additional ways of playing the game. It's an intriguing way to both teach and play the game because the core game is simple enough that you can play and enjoy it with young gamers. But the more expansions within the rulebook that you add, the more fun the game becomes. The layers that this game offers to players because of its choice of expansions makes it a great gateway game for new players, but also a fun mid-level game for seasoned gamers with a nice depth of strategy, recollection play, and bluffing to make any game night fun. Component-wise, the game is absolutely gorgeous. The presentation of a book-shaped box sets immediately the right tone with the game as a fun medieval fantasy world where the idea of everyone endlessly building castles over and over and over makes perfect sense. The artistic style is clear, concise, and has little moments of fun within the artwork, such as a Rob Roy type ally, granting a player immunity from challenge because they simply intimidate anyone who would dare approach them. The guild books themselves are a beautiful component that I haven't seen before in a board game and give a real sense of quality to the game as they are made from nice thick cardstock and give a nice gravitas and presence to your guild choice as opposed to just being a little bit of extra information on a card. There is great fun to be had in this game. So much fun, in fact, that my friends and I spent so much time being punitive to each other in both bluffs and special player powers that we kept forgetting to develop a cohesive game-winning strategy to actually compete. Later on in the night, we added some of our own rules, such as taking a drink whenever someone called a bluff, which, of course, led to an absurd amount of challenges, but only reinforced to us how fun, great, and simple the core concept of this game really is. This is a real gem of a game, and one that is well worth checking out when it launches on Kickstarter in mid-2022, and, inevitably, finds its way to retail stores in the future. This is another winner from Cheap Sheep Games. So until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck, God bless, and stay safe.